All we see is the train wrecks. All we see is the people shooting up crystal meth on the street, and that's the entertainment of it. But what they don't see are those people that walk up the stairs wrecked. They walked up the stairs just a shell, and a short period later, they have their family back in their lives. There's so much hope for everyone. This is Recovery Now. Can you talk about the transformation that you see in people?
It keeps me coming back to work every day. You know, I get to see them walk in, and I get to see that transformation slowly, and it's beautiful. You know, you can't beat that.
I mean, realistically, not everyone is a success story. I mean, we see relapse is a part of recovery, but for most cases, though, the difficult cases that do a good job and make that transformation, when does that usually occur?
I think it's different for everyone. I mean, and we really can't tell who's going to make it by who has a bigger desire. You know, it's a journey, and it's this process, and so sometimes it happens where you see that light come on. Sometimes they're struggling and they're discharging, and that's probably the most difficult part of the job, is knowing that someone's not ready to be plopped back to their environment, and yet that's what has to happen. You know, it's a transitional period. So
they finish their first month of treatment, and then it's time to go back to their life because they have to work, or they have school, or they have kids at home. That's what you're talking about. That's what's difficult or scary for you when they have to leave. Yeah,
because it's, you know, this is a family disease. So when, you know, you leave that environment that was totally chaotic, when you leave like the partner and the kids and the bills and the job and the everything, and you remove yourself from that environment and then you get plopped back into it, it's like the people around you assume that, great, you're finally home because now you can take care of the kids and pick up the, you know, dry cleaning, and, you know, they expect you to be there the way you were and so much more. And it's completely unrealistic. And, you know, that they're not willing to change their behaviors, that they're still going to be able to drink or have pills or whatever it is. And it's not okay. It's not safe. And so that's a difficult thing.
Is there a strategy that you use that you have found to be successful in your experience with maybe the problem cases or the harder cases?
I think that's a common, idea, is that, oh, the ones that have been through treatment a bunch are more difficult, or those who have, you know, just been unsuccessful and they've tried, or they've grown up in this environment or that environment. And, you know, everyone is different. That's why I personally have a very eclectic approach to each individual. Okay. And I work with a fantastic team that I can run things by. You know, people who have stronger knowledge base on certain things. So I think everyone has to be approached individually.
So I guess the message here is that the transition is really important. Yes, the treatment facility is good. You could need to go through the detoxification, the group therapy, but it's also that transition period. And every facility, I think, has an intensive outpatient program or a sober living environment, or at least the referrals that you can get to that. So it doesn't just stop after the 28 days, it continues. And that's, I think, what we're saying professionally here. Well, that actually leads us to our last show. We met with a girl named Sunny, and we're going to do a flashback here. But Sunny was basically offered treatment, and she knows so much about herself. She's very good at saying exactly what she feels, and you could just see there was no hope there. She basically said, "Look, I've been through these programs. I helped run these programs. I was a counselor, and I was going into the bathroom, and I was shooting up in the bathroom, and I was going out, and no one even knew it for weeks and weeks and weeks." And so then at this point, she's like, well, I'll try it, but why bother at this point? I've been through it all. I know myself. And we've all been there where we knew ourselves. We knew that nothing was going to stand in the way of our using. We wanted to stop, but our head just changed. Something happened in our brains, and something happened with our lives that all of a sudden we would go back to using again. And she knew herself, but is anyone a lost cause?
No.
Is it always worth it?
Absolutely.
Alcohol, methamphetamines, heroin. There are many ways to get addicted. Fortunately, there are a number of ways to start recovery. Call the Intervention and Treatment Referral now, offered by Spencer Recovery Centers.
My wife, Sunny, had a period of sobriety, and she relapsed back in May. We have a small child. We have a 2.5-year-old son.
There's always another chance, no matter how bad it gets. Is it possible? Can we talk to your wife?
I had a
previous sobriety for about 2.5 years, and I put my step work on the back burner, and I went out. I was shooting dope, and I was shooting heroin and meth in my neck every day, and you know, working in treatment, trying to work there still, you know, and just trying to go to this meeting and be secretary, still high, you know. I said I wouldn't get high at work, and you know, then I'm trying to find a vein in the bathroom all night. I had no mental defense against the needle. I stole medication. I went to sober living after sober living. I used there, and I used there, and I used there, and I go on until I start doing things that are shady. Since I relapsed, I haven't been able to put together more than a week.
Is there a willingness, or are you basically giving up?
What's it going to do this time? You know, why is this place going to be magical?
So what I'm asking you at this point, will you give it one more shot, and are you willing to go to treatment?
And you'll come down there.
Yeah, of course.
At this point, what do we have to lose? I know it's scary. Look at the people in the audience.
All right. Okay.
And here is Sunny after 40 days. Come on out, Sunny. Thank you so much for doing this. I know that it hasn't been easy.
No problem.
How are you doing, first of all?
I'm doing excellent. I feel great.
There was one part where we actually asked her, it was cut out. We said, you know, do you want to go to treatment? She says, can I bring my cell phone? We're like, I don't know about that. But, you know, you went to Spencer Recovery Center, and I worked there, so I'm able to see the transition as well. I don't work hand in hand with you, but Kerry does. You know, you were honest about being a manipulator. You were honest about the other programs you went to. What's it like now for you? What was it like? What was different about this place?
You know, I'm not really sure, but there is something different. I mean, I don't know if it's with me or just with my, I had like a psychic kind of change, you know, going in there, except not being out of maybe desperation, but just out of my own choice, just to be like, all right, I'm gonna do something different with my life this time and really try. And then I had a hard time for a little bit, and I really worked with Kerry, like, to address some of my other issues that might be going on, you know, other than, if I'm relapsing that much, maybe there's something else going on with me besides just my addiction, you know?
But you've worked hard. It hasn't been easy.
No, it hasn't. I've had some struggles, like just mental struggles, you know, when you get back in a mode to relapse, it's like, or feel that feeling, and then, you know, you have to just pray on it and just like, so something else can intervene, like besides yourself, you know, because I did, and God stepped in and took those things away, you know, like, because once you're in that mode, it's very hard to, once you're locked in a mode that you decided to use, or like that you're feeling like you may want to, it's very hard to get yourself out of that. And I managed to pull myself out of that with the help of Spencer.
The transition that we see just on the outside as well, I mean, people at home need to see that, because when you're working for a facility at one point shooting drugs into your neck, and then you're back at home wondering, how am I ever going to do this? Because every center that I went to, I manipulated it, and I ended up pulling one over on them, and here I am again back at home shooting drugs or using Suboxone or whatever it is that you were doing. I'd like to just take a few minutes to have your dad and you have a little boy come up and talk to them just for a few minutes.